In modern-day football, it's not only how a footballer plays that determines how famous he is. Many work their socks off for their clubs, but the thing is, such players are those whose impact we tend to overlook the most. In this video, we would like to talk about the shadow leaders of their clubs, who are yet to get their share of recognition. But before we go on, here's our question for you. For which club did Nikola Anelka make the most appearances? Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Real Madrid? Please leave your answers in the comments and get ready for watching. Rodri. The Spaniard has been playing for Manchester City since summer 2019 when Josep Guardiola noticed Rodri's incredible potential and signed him from Atletico. It took him some time to adapt to the new club and the new league after Diego Simeone's defense-minded football, but now we speak of Rodri as one of the best metronomes of our time. Not only he dictates tempo and reads the game most intelligently, his work rate and his performance in defense is what makes him so crucial for Guardiola and what many fans pay little attention to. Rodri doesn't score many goals, neither can he boast with a great number of assists, so it's mostly his teammates who get all the praise. Rodri's long shots, however, are always a threat, but even though he's proved that many times, it was not enough to get the proper recognition for the Spaniard. Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard. Many of Arsenal players have been in the spotlight this season, but some of them still deserve more. Thomas Partey is a prime example of it. The 29-year-old Ghana midfielder has finally stepped up. It's his third season for the Gunners, and throughout this season he has already played 24 Premier League games, the same number he played in 2 previous seasons. But what is more important is his notable progress, as Partey has finally brought solidity to Arsenal's midfield. But just like Rodri, Thomas has been outshone by his teammates, those who play up front and score goals. Another Arsenal player in our list is Martin Odegaard, previously deemed not good enough by Real Madrid. But Mikel Arteta has finally managed to unleash the Norwegian's potential. 10 goals and 8 assists in 28 Premier Leagues is a decent result for any midfielder. But should Odegaard make a mistake or have a poor game, the fans forget about his quality and all the progress he has made and lash out with criticism at the player. Their academy product, the 21-year-old Bukayo Saka, is the one they would rather praise, as his current stats are 12 goals and 10 assists in the Premier League. So Odegaard still has a lot to prove, it seems. Antoine Griezmann. It's been Antoine's second season for Atletico Madrid after he made his return from Barcelona. In 2019, he left the Atletico fans heartbroken as he joined Barca, which ended up being a terribly wrong decision. Griezmann never looked like himself while at Nou Camp, as his primary centre-forward position was occupied by Luis Suarez. In the end, however, Griezmann realized that he had made a mistake and returned to Atletico on loan with an option of a permanent deal in summer 2021. The fans weren't that eager to forgive him at first, as they kept booing the striker, but this season, the Frenchman seems to have finally won them over. The version of Griezmann is different from the old one, the striker scoring 30 goals per season. The 32-year-old Frenchman now plays way deeper, closer to the midfield line. His responsibilities now include much more than scoring goals, though his stats are still more than decent, 9 goals and 9 assists in La Liga so far. But the team's poor results, as well as the striker's Barca performance, is what makes many fans think of Griezmann as finished, despite all his impact for France in the World Cup, where he was among the leaders in the terms of tackles and interceptions. Nicola Barella. Nicola Barella is yet another player whose drastic improvement is impossible to deny. Since he joined Inter in summer 2019, he has evolved into one of the best Serie A midfielders, while the team, with Antonio Conte in charge, won the league in 2021. Barella has been maintaining his high level of performance ever since, dominating the midfield both with his creativity and tireless pressing, but the recognition he gets is incomparable to all the praises the likes of Lautaro Martinez receive. Liverpool scouts, however, seem to acknowledge Barella's quality, as the club is reported to be interested in the Italian. Inter, in turn, are not willing to let their midfield leader go. A move to the Premier League would have probably helped Nicolo gain the recognition he deserves, but by the looks of it, it is unlikely to happen in the near future. Dear friends, before we go on, we'd like you to help us gain 5,000 followers. If you like our videos, please leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to tap the bell button so that you don't miss our next video. Niklas Füllkrug. The striker has spent the bigger part of his career at Werder Bremen. The best Bundesliga 2 goalscorer, Niklas Füllkrug, helped Werder return to the German elite last season. After that, quite surprisingly, he kept going. His 16 goals and 5 assists in the Bundesliga make him the best scorer in German top-flight football this season. Such numbers didn't go unnoticed by the Germany head coach Hans-Dieter Flick, as Füllkrug was included in the national team squad for the World Club, which was his international debut. And what a debut it was! Even though the Bundes team didn't make it into the knockout round, Niklas scored 2 goals in 3 games, thus becoming the team's best scorer along with Kai Havertz, even though Füllkrug didn't start a single game throughout the tournament. But all these achievements didn't bring him any significant popularity. Niklas was once rumored to be moving to Bayern, but only as a backup option, and the move didn't happen in the end. Let's see how Füllkrug's career is going to unfold. Will he prove that he's more than a one-season wonder? Rodrigo Bentancur. The Uruguayan has been playing in Europe since he was signed by Juventus from Boca Juniors for €21,700,000 in 2017. Many hopes were placed on the 20-year-old Bentancur, but his lack of consistency made the Bianconeri loan him out in the end. Rodrigo joined Tottenham with a mandatory option to buy. The new league and the new coach Antonio Conte did a lot of good to the Uruguayan, as he quickly became a crucial part of Conte's system, while the team achieved a top-4 finish. Then he kept on improving. This season he has been a great asset to the team with a solid performance at both ends of the pitch and 5 goals and 2 assists in 18 Premier League appearances. It's been the best season for Rodrigo in terms of goals, but at the same time it's been a poor season for the Spurs, which is why the midfielder's progress has gone pretty much unnoticed, as he still remains that one from Juventus for many football fans. Unfortunately for him, the situation will not change for the better in the near future, due to the cruciate ligament injury that is going to make Bentancur miss the rest of the season and a big part of the next one as well. Will he manage to fully recover from such a grave injury? That is a big question. Should we consider Tottenham being up to signing his replacement this summer? Alexander Lacazette. The Arsenal spell surely wasn't the best one in Lacazette's career. After a decent start, 14 goals in his first Premier League season, the Frenchman failed to develop his success, probably because of Arsène Wenger leaving the club and the turbulence that followed. Lacazette's time at Arsenal ended last summer as his contract expired and he returned to Lyon as a free agent, the team where he spent his prime years. As a rule, nothing good comes of it, but Lacazette's story ended up being an exception as he managed to rediscover his old form and score 18 goals in 27 league games. Though the team is currently going 7th in the league, Lacazette has been its leader from day one, but the wide audience doesn't seem to pay much attention to that. The striker has been out of his national team squad for quite some time, and that is unlikely to change in the near future, as after all, he's 31 years old. But even so, you can't help but admire the way the Frenchman relaunched his career at his new old club. Jamal Musiala and Joshua Kimmich. There are at least 2 Bayern footballers who deserve to be talked about more. Let's start with the midfielder Jamal Musiala, who's been enjoying his breakthrough season with 11 goals and 10 assists in the Bundesliga so far, which is twice as much as there was last season. Jamal has really reached another level, as it's safe to say that he's now one of Bayern's leaders. At the same time, the 20-year-old midfielder's name is not yet as big as the one of Covey, for example, whose importance for Barca is not even close to Jamal's influence at Bayern, with all due respect. But still, it was Covey who won the Golden Boy Award last year. How come it is possible? That is something we would love to know. Joshua Kimmich is yet another Bayern player who's been criminally underrated. After having played as a right back and even as a centre back, Joshua became a model holding midfielder with the help of Josep Guardiola, who introduced Joshua's talent to the world. Since then, no matter who was in charge, Joshua has always been there as a primary option in midfield and a key player for the club with a number of Bundesliga titles and the Champions League under his belt. But once again, we would rather praise an attacker scoring goals than a holding midfielder recovering the ball. Even now, when the biggest star and the top scorer Robert Lewandowski is no longer at the club, Kimmich's influence is still being overlooked by the media. Marc-Andre ter Stegen. The German goalkeeper came to Barcelona in 2014 as he was signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Since then, Marc-Andre has established himself as one of the best goalkeepers of modern football, able to save all kinds of shots. But despite all the trophies he has won with Barca, including the Champions League in his debut season, the German has been pretty much neglected by the media, as there are too few of those who would name him among the top goalkeepers. There would be other names, such as Thibaut Courtois, Alisson, Manuel Neuer, and many others. As for Neuer, ter Stegen's compatriot, he has probably been the biggest reason for Marc-Andre's lack of recognition, as it has always been Manuel in goal for Germany. The recent performance may make you think that the younger one, ter Stegen, probably deserves it more, but nevertheless, Hansi Flick has already told the media that he still sees the 37-year-old Neuer as his first-choice goalkeeper for Euro 2024. That means that ter Stegen will have to wait for at least a season and a half to finally come out of the Bayern's keeper's shadow. Kaoru Mitoma. The Japanese, who was playing for his university team not that long ago, is now among the best attackers in the Premier League. The left winger Mitoma has been probably the biggest discovery of this Premier League season. The 25-year-old Japanese came back to Brighton after a dubious loan spell at the Belgian side Union, so nobody was expecting anything extraordinary from him. But Mitoma managed to surpass all expectations as he started dominating the strongest league in the world straight away. His current stats are 7 goals and 5 assists in the league, and not to forget that late winner against Liverpool in the FA Cup. But despite all that, Mitoma is among the lowest paid Brighton players, with a salary of a bit more than 500,000 euros per year. This shows how underrated the Japanese is. But after all, the wide audience is yet to get to know him better. It may all change this summer though, should he sign for one of the big clubs interested in him, as the competition for the winger is going to be heated. By the way, we have already made a video about Mitoma and other players who have already outgrown their current clubs and have their eyes set on a big move. Check it out in case you haven't seen it. Nathan Ake. Last summer, Ake could have left Manchester City and returned to Chelsea, but the deal fell through, so the Dutchman had to stay at the Etihad. Nothing special was expected from him after 2 seasons at City, but Nathan proved himself to be made of sterner stuff as he suddenly broke into the first 11. The defender seems to have at last adjusted himself to Josep Guardiola's vision of football and become a crucial figure in City's defense. Even Nathan's star compatriot Virgil van Dijk marked his progress as he said. He is playing so well at the moment and is so important for our national team in Man City. He is achieving a very consistent level and people do not realize that is the hardest thing for a footballer to do. I am happy for him because I see what's going on behind the scenes and how much he's put in for it. The most important part is Ake's progress people don't see. Despite his recent performance, no one would dare to name Nathan among the best Premier League defenders, though it's more like a fact at this point. Pierre Kalulu. Last season, AC Milan lost the centre-back Simone Kjaer, who was the cornerstone for the Rossoneri's defense. It looked like the end of Milan's Serie A aspirations, as the Danes seemed irreplaceable. But in the end, help came from where it was least expected, as Pierre Kalulu stepped up and formed an impenetrable defense duo with Fikayo Tomori. The 22-year-old Frenchman brought the much-needed solidity to Milan's defense, and as a result, the Rossoneri won the Scudetto for the first time since 2011, as they also secured the biggest number of clean sheets. This season has been marked with further progress from Pierre. Even though his team hasn't been at its best, Kalulu remains the most solid and consistent centre-back, as he started in all the matches in all competitions. But even so, it looks as if it's not enough for the press to talk about the Frenchman the way he deserves to be talked about. And what is more, the defender is yet to make his debut for the national team, as he wasn't included in France's squad for the World Cup in Qatar. Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Napoli has been probably the most spectacular team this season, being 16 points ahead of their Serie A rivals and having reached the Champions League quarterfinal for the first time in their history. Of course, you can't help but mention the attacking duo Kvaratskhelia-Osimhen. That has been unstoppable this season. But at the same time, there are more players to talk about when we speak about Napoli. One of them is the new captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo. The 29-year-old Italian has been playing for Napoli since he was signed from Empoli in 2019. It didn't take him long to become a fan favorite at the new club, and apart from that, Di Lorenzo was the first-choice right-back for Squadra Azzurra, the Euro 2020 winners. He has been no less important for Napoli this season at both ends of the pitch. Giovanni has scored 2 goals and made 4 assists in the Serie A so far, as he also scored 2 and made 2 assists in the Champions League, which are more than decent numbers for a full-back. Nico Schlotterbeck. Just before this season started, Nico Schlotterbeck joined Borussia Dortmund after he had left Freiburg as a free agent. The 20-year-old defender didn't need much time to make it into the first 11. Apart from his solid defending, his goal-scoring efforts are more than worthy of praise, as Nico has 4 goals and 4 assists in the Bundesliga while playing as a centre-back. There are strikers who can't boast with such numbers, let alone midfielders. As a result, there's no way you can deny Nico's impact, which has made Borussia Bundesliga contenders at last. Schlotterbeck was also involved in the national team World Cup campaign, which ended as early as in the group stage. It would be unfair though to put the blame on Nico, as the World Cup was a disaster for the whole team as a unit. So we may conclude that it has really been a breakthrough season for Schlotterbeck, and he surely deserves more recognition than he's currently getting. It's most natural for the press to write about those who draw the most attention and make headlines. Some players should probably consider changing their approach, and apart from playing football, try using media to their advantage in order to get more recognition, as recognition is what brings advertising contracts, which in their turn bring more money. Dear friends, which one of our today's heroes do you find the most underrated? Please share your thoughts in the comments. See you soon.